Hello, my name is Grian, and today the crew and I have put together 10 brewing rooms for you to look over and get inspired by. I've done bedrooms, I've done enchanting rooms, I've done kitchens, living rooms, I think I've done pretty much everything, and the call for the brewing room was building. So let's get started. The first one is a coffee shop. Now I know this is an interior design series, but the outside is something to note here. It's a good use of the prismarine, you got buttons as a nice decoration, and a potential rose bush if you can see it that way. You can put some nether warts behind the leaves, and you've got a pretty nice modern looking shop front with the banners up there as well. But the front is by the by. On the inside we've got lots of brewing stands. Obviously the joke here is that a coffee shop brews coffee, but we're brewing potions instead. Ha ha ha, very funny. But it's just a nice look about it, and it works really well as a public space for brewing. If you've got a modern city or town and you have a community where you share resources, this could be a really great option for you. It fits the theming perfectly, and it uses the pun of brewing coffee / brewing potions. Although this is an interior series, the exterior is a big part of that with lots of little design tricks in there. Moving on, again this is more of a pun, but this is a casket room where you would normally brew alcohol, but of course we don't have alcohol in Minecraft and you shouldn't be drinking it anyway, it's bad for you. But in this scenario we will be brewing potions, but we're using again that scenario of where you would be brewing something else, but we're going to be using it to brew potions. This cellar is a little bit taller than I would normally make it, but again these are all flexible designs. I want to point attention to the walls. What really makes this feel like it's underground or a basement is the mixture of blocks for the walls and the floor, and those caskets are what dominate the scene. Moving on, we've got the most complicated one that we've made today. This is an underwater design. Just try and imagine that there's water surrounding this place. It doesn't even have to be underwater, but this is what it was designed for. So you've got all of your brewing equipment there, and all of these tables have lots of flexibility for storage or whatever else you want. You have to remember that this series is all about inspiring the theme and the location. We've got netherwart farms here as well, which we automated with some different ways. So if we press the button, it breaks the glass and spawns a ladder. If we press the button here, it spawns the water and launches all of the netherwarts towards us, and we can turn it off, leave, and then replace the glass. So that was all done with command blocks, which is sometimes a bit beyond what we're able to make. I mean, I myself am a muggle and cannot use command blocks for the life of me, so all of the commands will be down in the description. For us muggles, we will be using pistons, and I will show you how this works in a moment. So this is the simpler way, obviously, that uses exactly the same techniques, except it's a little bit more manual and uses redstone rather than command blocks. I must admit this room goes a little bit beyond what I would expect of a normal brewing room, and in the center here we've got just a sample of netherwarts that we'll never actually touch. It's just like a test tube to show it off. But anyway, let's go and take a quick look at the redstone behind it. It's actually very simple. It might look complicated, but it's not. Behind that block is the button that switches it on, and the redstone just makes its way round. We've got a switch here that activates when we press it, and this will then deactivate the pistons over here to retract them and allow passage down to the netherwart. I'll just give you a quick little tour around in case you want a more detailed look at it. So the pistons there are 3, 2, 1 down to the bottom, and they're all linked up to these redstone here under the orange wool. It is as is. That's quite a simple design. However, the command blocks are a different story. Underneath, we've got another simple design. The lever would be there, it triggers these redstones and retracts the piston by deactivating that redstone torch. Again, a simple design that's easily replicatable, but not so much underwater. So although this is an underwater design, you will need to be careful for that. Anyway, if you wanted to do the command block side of thing, that's in the description. Right, moving on, we spent a long time on that. This is for a forest design. Now, usually we include the same themes in this series, and one of them tends to be an outside forest. So this is a very exaggerated tree stump covered in slabs, leaves, fences, any brown blocks to really get that effect of overgrown. And on the top it's got podzol, mushrooms, mushroom blocks, which will only be available to you with world edit or command blocks, but I'm sure if you know how to get hold of those, you will make good use of them. There are alternatives to those otherwise, but then inside you've just got a very simple netherwart farm and some brewing stands, and obviously there's every scope to add chests and all that kind of storage stuff in here. These designs are not to indicate the practicality of them, they are more there to show you the theme and the design to inspire you to do something with your brewing room. This one has a bit more practicality about it. It's got all of your brewing stands, probably way too many, but it's also got your storage space in there as well. And you do that, of course, using trap chests and normal chests put next to each other. All of this gives a very industrial style about it. Also, that attic-shaped roof and the style of the walls is something that's quite popular in my series here. And one of the other things I want to point out is that pipe in the back there is a really cool design. You need to actually power some of those on the back to make it work. But it works absolutely perfectly as a water source, even if it just goes down into a little puddle there. It's not something I see too often, but I really enjoy that style. Moving on, we've got a very simple desert theme here. It's not particularly the best room, it is exactly what it says on the tin. It's brewing stand in a desert temple style, but nonetheless it does give you some ideas. We've got a nice slanting roof and a nice use of all the different sandstones mixed in with some birch wood and plenty of gold to make it feel more temple-y. Moving on, we've got the modern design. This is a very popular one with most people and indeed in the series. I want to point out some of the features. It's got the quartz chiseled block as the floor. It's got some netherwart farms down below underneath the iron bars. It's got a nice ventilator and lots of pots with greenery in them to make it look like the owner is growing their own herbs here, and it's got some brewing stands in the middle. Everything is very simple and elegant, and it's got that grey clay and quartz feel about it that is very typical with the modern design. Moving on, we've got the interior of a cave. This is obviously meant to be just inside, and if you watched my Transform a Cave video, we've got a similar thing of changing those dirt and stone blocks to be a mixture of andesite, cobblestone, and gravel on the floor if you've got access to those blocks, along with the cobblestone walls as the stalactites. So we've got the brewing stand in the middle that's just on a simple table, and we've got loads of chests around and some nether wart as well. Making it all seem overgrown is a great touch as well. Moving on to the next room, we've got another modern design. However, this is more of a ruined one. It's like an apocalyptic scene here where it's just overgrown into the kitchen. So it's got a lot of similarities to the other one that we made, the modern house, but the windows are broken, we've got leaves coming down, it's just been taken over by nature. I'm not too sure how many of you would need this design or this inspiration, but well, it's too late, it's there, it's part of the video. So, let's move on to our 10th and final room. We have an actual attic, so it's very small in comparison to the others and has less scope for storing all of your needs. But if you have a small house and you don't want that big of a room, this would work quite well. We've got only a single brewing stand, but we've got loads of things to make it seem eerie. The blood there, as redstone, maybe don't link it up to a trap chest, but we've got nether warts, we've got the cobwebs. It just seems a bit spookier. This wouldn't be out of place in a mansion of sorts. So it's not too detailed, but the atmosphere here really fits a brewing room. It might even look in place in a witch's hut if that was the route you were going, or even if you weren't going to actually use it yourself. So that is the 10 designs. We'll go back through them with the overgrown kitchen, the cave design, the modern design with all of its extra greenery bits, the rather average looking desert one, and the attic industrial style with the really nice pipe design, to the tree stump, and the underwater style with all of the gizmos, with the redstone and the command blocks, the cellar brewing room, 2 different types of brewing, and finally my favourite, the coffee shop. So that is all 10 designs for the brewing room, and I believe we haven't got many more rooms to make. I've done bedrooms, I've done living rooms, everything. If you've got some other room that needs to be added to this series, please do let me know, because I'd like to complete the set. Anyway, I hope this has triggered some sort of inspiration in you or given you some ideas in style. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.